It is my honor and privilege to welcome Prakash Linga, co-founder and CEO of BluBracket. Prakash is a visionary whose passion for human aspect of security has powered multiple startups and game-changing products. Prakash is passionate about creating things from ground up with the new and big ideas. His purpose of building a company is to solve the problem with disruptive innovation and have meaningful and long-lasting impact. Prior to BluBracket, Prakash was the CTO, Chief Product Officer, and co-founder of Vera, which was acquired by Help Systems in 2020. He also served as CDO and co-founder at RapSphere, which was acquired by Absence in 2012. Prakash is an alumni of IIT Madras and holds a PhD from Cornell University. Today, Prakash will share his thoughts on product-led growth in an user era and how to accelerate customer acquisition, conversion, and expansion. Excited to listen to this talk and learn from his journey. Welcome, Prakash.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nidhi, for the warm introduction, right? And excited to share my thoughts, right? So I'll share my screen.
Yeah, please.
That's something that you all can see. Awesome.
Looks great. Go ahead, please.
Perfect. All throughout our history, right, there are many powerful examples of empowering users leading to transformative change. Potatoes, right, enable farmers to grow their own food, leading to the end of feudalism. More recently, GitHub enabled code sharing and collaboration, leading to millions of developers creating innovative software applications that are transforming every industry. Products that users love are put to creative use, right, way beyond their original intended use, thus leading to transformative change. As you know, most users today try and buy software, right, doubling down on products they love. Product-led growth is the only way for you to build and grow sustainable game-changing products and companies, even in the complex enterprise world. So the traditional model of product-led growth is about driving viral growth loops. And you may have seen this like the flywheel chart before, right? Happy users recommend the product to others who try it. They find delight and invite yet more people into the product. So you want your users to be your champions, advocating your product for you. But what we found is the most disruptive innovations are those that empower users. And this has been true throughout our history, right? Now back comes Mr. Potato, right? So it was first introduced into Europe in the mid 1500s, empowered individuals with a crop that they could grow in their own gardens, right? And feed their families. What did this do? This enabled them to be self-sufficient. The end of feudalism, the economic order of the time, was due to this crop, right, that could grow anywhere and produced 4 times more calories than wheat. With families freed from the need to labor on others' lands, the economic power that these feudal lords had over the serfs was completely lost. Right? Now, in today's world, product-led growth is the way forward. Right? So here are some 3 simple but effective stats that clearly call out the need for a self-service free trial experience. That in fact, when was the last time you solved a problem by picking up the phone and calling a salesperson or responding to a sales email? So according to the recent Stack Overflow survey, most developers prefer to use a free trial as a way to research a new service. And this is exactly what I would do and you would do as well. Most buyers trust recommendations from their friends and colleagues. Most business buyers, B2B buyers, overwhelmingly prefer self-service online buying whenever it's an option. So here are 3 powerful examples of products, right, that I love and adore, right, that empowered users to challenge status quo and change the world. First is, Instagram, right, a wildly popular photo sharing app that I'm sure you all are intimately familiar with. In 2011, when Instagram grew to about 10 million active users in less than a year, right, with 3 engineers, the world collectively recognized that mobile and cloud had jointly reshaped what was possible, and photo sharing would be the least of it. Right? Instagram then, as you know, scaled to 100 million users, faster than any other service before, and reached like 1 billion users in 5 years. Right? Instagram's success ushered in a wave of mobile and SaaS applications, right, both in the consumer and the enterprise worlds. Instagram put the enterprise on notice, right? So innovate in-house, leverage cloud and mobile, or risk being outclassed by a tiny startup. Right? In fact, Gartner went bullish on mobile and cloud only after seeing Instagram's tremendous success. The second example is GitHub, right? As you know, a service loved by every developer. Almost everything before GitHub was focused on what the developers need to do with code. GitHub uniquely focused on ways for developers can connect over code. Right? GitHub, in fact, modeled a lot of their interactions on Twitter, right? Followers, faves, stars, retweets, forks, replies, pull requests, right? So all of these are good things, right? And what happened? Popular repos on GitHub launched new startups. Now, GitHub has more active users than any previous estimate of developers in the world, right? So that was the kind of impact GitHub had on the developer world. For the success of GitHub, enterprise really had a choice, right? If you call it that, allow developers to use the tools they want, or lose developers to companies that did. And this was amplified by many existing large companies. Airtable is our third example, right? A fascinating company, right? And the first electronic spreadsheet was motivated by a desire, right, to empower phone company accountants to self-service, right, rather than depending on programmers to develop and write these different forms, right? Today, it's a similar variant of the problem, right, where businesses are still struggling to make sense of the growing volume of data, right, and thus a new class of these low-code, no-code, right, data management tools like Airtable have emerged. So individuals can now do things that had previously required whole IT teams, right? And they're able to now build apps for their teams, personalize them, and be that much more creative and effective at doing it. And in general, product-led growth works well when you're targeting a large user base to allow for that viral growth. Especially in the enterprise world, product-led growth works well when your ideal customers are fast-moving companies and your product can easily be tested and adopted by a small team without having to change their mandatory workflows. So these are like the three main modes that you typically see in a product-led growth adventure. Right? Fast-working products must deliver immediate value. Habit-forming products must drive a group behavior change. And paradigm-shifting products must radically unblock growth. So in a fast-working product, the user is the buyer. You can do a short, quick, free trial to determine whether this product in fact solves their problems. Calendly is a fantastic example of this try and buy motion, right? And the viral growth loop that it leverages there. In a habit-forming product, many users need to change their default behavior, right? And the buyer is different from the user, and for the buyers to make a purchasing decision there. Right? Slack is a powerful example of a habit-forming product, right? And something that most of you are familiar with. So the last category on paradigm shifting requires a higher commitment from your customer in a trial. Can make it difficult for companies to sort of get initial traction. But if the growth opportunity created by that commitment justifies it, it can become game-changing and paradigm shifting. So how do you build such a transformative experience, right? So what I've learned is, right, first focus on a problem that you can relate to as an entrepreneur that you're uniquely capable of solving. Start small and build a product experience that uniquely solves a problem that a user cares about. Continuously measure how effective the workflows are at achieving the desired outcomes. Right? Learn from these observations and improve the product experience. So you might already know about the build, measure, learn, iteration loop, right? From Steve Blank, author of 4 Steps to the Epiphany. And that fundamentally depends on that measuring your results, right? And it's Halloween, right? So I love being a pirate for Halloween. My kids are kind of getting tired of it, me being a pirate, right? Chasing them around, but not me, right? So in any case, we use the classic pirate metrics, right, to measure our overall company health, right? It's an expanded set, right, and availability, awareness, right? are people in our space aware of the product, right? Acquisition, activation, are people finding value in the product, right? Whether it's whether you're measuring time to value, proof value, or different aspects there. Retention, referral, are people loving the product enough to tell others about it, right? And then towards the end is revenue and retention. Are people finding recurring value at renewal, right? Are some measures that are very interesting to monitor, measure, and at different points in the life cycle, the bottleneck tends to change, and you're continuously optimizing and refining these different aspects, right? An alternate way to look at this and an alternate framework is the flywheel framework. And we are definitely paying attention to sort of the different stages of the user journey and how long it takes for the user to progress through those different stages, right? Whether it's activation, adoption, adoration, or advocation. What metrics alone can do, however, is to help empathize with your users, talk with them, use the product with them, and feel their struggles, right? All of these are critical things to do to truly understand the need, not just what they're asking for. So having built 3 startups from the ground up, right, one thing I know to be true, right? If you're thinking about starting a company or building a brand new product, focus on the user, right? Focus on how they feel, what's in it for them, what's important to them, how your product helps them succeed. Really love this tweet from Scott Belsky from Adobe, right? So the success of your company ultimately depends on how your users feel about themselves using your products. So I want to leave you all with this one last thought, right? People, you'll be surprised, people will invest nearly unlimited time and resources in products that make them feel good, or which might advance their careers. Right? So think about what makes them smile, right? What makes them confident in their work? What makes them succeed in their personal and professional life, right? And really hope this talk has inspired you to go to the extra mile, right? To create product experiences that delight and empower your users. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to the IIT Bay Area Alumni Association for organizing this fantastic event. Happy to take any questions this time.
Thank you so much, Prakash. That was a lot of great information, and good to learn that how we are putting product in the center to actually drive user experience and adoption. One question though, so product-led growth talks very much in detail from the product perspective. What do you think is the role of enterprise sales in that when we are talking about PLG?
Great question. Right? So it may seem like PLG is at odds with sales, but that's far away from the truth. Right? So sales continues to be a critical function in the product-led world, right? But what sales do changes significantly. They would assist users who want to purchase the premium product, so they'd be more in that assist function, right? Helping solve customer problems, right, and more focused on the expansion rather than hunting new deals, right? For enterprise products, right, where typically the economic buyer is different from the user, right? Sales would continue to work with the buyer, right? Use the data, the information from the product-led growth motion, right, to make the buying process smoother and more efficient, right? For example, target organizations that are getting a lot of value from the free version, right, is what companies like Slack and GitHub have done very, very effectively.
Great. I'd like to take one more question. Any tips on how habit-forming product making journey different than ad hoc use of products?
So Slack is a great example of a habit-forming product, right? They're a little bit harder for people to change behavior, but once you can get them to pick up and experience that unique value, it's hard to stop, right? And then all of us, we have so now that we use Slack so every day, right? It almost feels like, how did we live without Slack in our prior company, right? So that's a perfect example for you of a habit-forming product, very different from a typical product that's looking to solve a specific problem, saving some money for the company, right?
That's great. So we have a lot of questions, but we're out of time right now. So thank you so much, Prakash. This was a great session. Thanks a lot for your time and great to have you here. Okay, so now,
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.